Hey everybody, today's video is sponsored by GSI. Morning. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. This is the day after Thanksgiving. Starting the day off, we got to take a trailer or a tank of water back to the house. Amish boys are back there putting tile down and, well, they need some water. So we're filling up a tote, taking it back there. And then I got to climb that leg. Up there, that'll be fun. Little bit of a muddy mess back here. So Tuesday we got about 1.5 inches of rain, I'd say. Just a guess. But electrician's getting the meter base in, and I gotta dig some more trenching over to there, and then hopefully we can get our service ran here as soon as that happens, pretty soon. I think we might be at max capacity on that skid steer. I don't know. So this mess hasn't cleaned up itself, so that's today's project. So if you missed it, the last day of corn harvest, which was Monday, I was dumping the last truck that had to get dumped that day. We could not finish corn harvest unless that truck got dumped. Had to switch the consigner up top, and something didn't get aligned right. And I started backing up the leg, burn all the belts off the leg, and I still had 400 bushels of grain in the truck. And Dad told me, dump it, we need the truck. So I dumped it, but now I need to go up top and fix it. So we are going to use the JCB to bucket loads of corn out of that grain leg. Basically, I get the corn out of the grain leg, that way when I put the new belts on the grain leg, it runs. And this is probably going to be the easiest way to go about it. We're going to use one of them gravity wagons, but they've been sitting there so long all the doors are froze up on them. We'll just run the grain back into this and then go dump it. Holy cow. I'm getting a little too fat for this. Good God. My arms are killing me. Anywho, see the house real good from here. Dad's getting me a bag of tools and the belts. First thing we gotta do is peel this thing off. And there's one of the belts that's broke, like I figured. So Dad just sent my bag of tools up. You guys want to take bets if we don't have the right wrench? have enough 1/2-inch wrenches. We have like 6 of those. 7/16.
I can turn it by hand pretty easy.
So we got 4 belts here, and I've got them really loose. And now we're going to start taking these things off and replace them. This one ain't really all that bad, but the other ones, I got smoked. We're going to go ahead and replace them while we're up here.
Watch your fingers! I'm taking the last belt off. Watch yourself. Ready? Hey! I'm gonna send these old belts down, send the grease gun up.
This is for future reference. This belt number. Dad's wrote downstairs now. One belt on. So now, down here, use this crescent wrench to tighten this turnbuckle. Whew. We're getting there. I want this baby tight. Ain't looking to come back up here. Now we need to pull the grease gun up because you never go to the top of a grain leg without greasing it.
Belts are on if you want to try it. Well, I got the belts on. Okay.
I think they sent me a grease gun with no grease. So we're cleaning out the distributor because, well, that was what caused this problem. And, well, this is terrible. This sucks. You'll see.
Here comes some more.
Well,
no, right there. That's 2. Almost. Keep going. Right there. Too far. Back there, right down. There you go.
so this is the inside of a consignor. It was completely full of dirt. I mean, completely full. So we've cleaned out the best I can with what I've got, and I'm covered in dust because there's nowhere to stand other than right here, right off the edge of this ladder, and this is miserable. But we're going to put this cover back on and get out of here. I am tired of being up here. I don't mind heights. I don't like them when I can't see, and I've got so much dust in my eyes right now, I can barely see. Huh? It's going to have to be. So this is spaced right there, and whoever did this used a larger nut to kind of space it. It should let that dust out, but it's clearly not getting enough out. Holy cow, it's only, this leg's a 2019. I believe that I had to do this in 2020, so that's 3 years of dust. I thought it wouldn't. I don't know, I'm kind of surprised it's that bad. The old grain leg, I've only cleaned it out like once every 10 years. It's not nearly as bad. Now it's a bigger or smaller leg, moves less dust, but still. Well, we have everything fixed, so we're going down. We're not going the expressway. That's not an option. Morning. This is the next day, and before we finish working on grain bins, we're taking care of important stuff. What are we doing, Mrs. Brown?
Christmas lights.
Mrs. Brown's feeling very festive this year, so we're hanging lights on our janky fence and around our building. Alright folks, we're going to now unplug the drags, and then we will get this corn cleaned up. So Dad had the dryer running earlier. We were running it into this bin here to make enough room to hold the corn in the wet bin. Got our little mini vac running. Good news is this spins now. It's got the drag cleaned out. That's a good step in the right direction. Yeah, tighten that up while we're in there.
I think we need to tighten.
You done good work, sir. Looks like you just kind of stand there. So here we are tightening up that chain. By doing that, we got to turn these. That pulls this motor back, which puts more pressure on the chain. Holy cow! There it goes. Looky there! Hallelujah. BJ's using a broom. Hell, I'm going to use the loader. Not the most ideal way to unload a truck. If you missed what happened with this system plug, we needed to get that truck emptied, so we dumped it in the floor. And here we are. When we get the one combine, Dad can just do this, like we'll pull in here and dump on the floor. question. Nope. So with the amount of trouble that we had the last day of harvest, with these grain bins, you may be wondering, are they really worth it? Absolutely. So basically by having grain bins, you have the ability to play the market. For example, over here on the board, we have December corn, $4.55. If we wanted to wait till March, we can capture 20 cents in the market right there. That's 20 cents by holding that corn till March. We can book it now with a March delivery and we just made 20 cents. Or we can go to July, if we really want to hold it for a long time, get $4.96. That's 40 cents. Now July might be a little bit of a haul, like might be kind of a long time to hold that corn. But what I'm saying is having grain bins gives you options to do things like that. Plus you make money. This is where you make your most money, in my opinion, with grain bins, is conditioning and storing your grain. You can have town dry your grain, and it's extremely expensive. I can't remember what their drying rate is, but it's about 2 to 3 times what it costs us to dry grain here. Plus, they charge an extremely high shrinkage rate. So basically, as you dry corn, that moisture's leaving that corn, and the kernel itself is shrinking. So think of it as we've got, think of like Orbeez, for example. If you know what an Orbeez is, if you put a handful of Orbeez in a bucket, it might not take up much. Now, if they're Orbeez that have been soaked in water and they've expanded, it's going to take up more of that bucket. Well, bushels are the same way. Bushel is a volume measurement. So you have more kernels of corn fitting into that bushel whenever they're dry. So as you pull the moisture out, there is a shrinkage rate. Well, when you take it down, they're going to charge more for that shrinkage rate. So yeah, that's what you can gain with grain bins. At the time we built these bins, a grain bin was roughly $1.20 to $1.50 put up a bushel. So you're really making, I'd say grain bins probably make you at least 20 cents a bushel a year, my guess, if you do your marketing correctly. If you neglect that, you know, you're not going to get the greatest price. But I would say on average, they probably make 20 cents a year. So it is a fairly quick return on investment, at least it was for those. Then you start figuring on drying a bunch of grain, you're really starting to capture that return. And then every now and then you'll hit a year where there's going to be a $1 to $2 difference. For example, a couple of years ago was a good example. We harvested corn. That corn during harvest was worth like $4. And by the summertime, that corn was worth $6. So grain bins are a great thing. Now, people keep asking us why we don't build more, because every year we're topping bins off. Well, basically, we have enough storage for most of our grain. We are topping bins off because we're filling them. I would love to build another grain bin. That is something I want to do at some point, but we just don't have the acres to justify that grain bin right now. Basically, we build a bin. I want to build a big bin. So we only have so many footprints out there for a bin. I don't want to waste it on like a 10,000 bushel bin. I want to build another 80 to 100,000 bushel bin. To do that, I need a few hundred acres more corn that I don't have. So that's a little bit about grain bins and why we like them, and are they worth the headache? Absolutely. Plus, if we had to take everything down, I guarantee you we'd still have a lot more corn. There was a lot of days where we were waiting. Really, there wasn't a lot of days for us, but there was a lot of days where there was a multi-hour line in town. And this is our Cargill location. Looky there, they have max moistures. We don't have that here. Now, I don't want to harvest 20% beans, and I don't want to harvest 30% corn if I don't have to, but if I have to, I can. And then we look here, there is no line there today, but that's always subject to change. And then that's the big one right there. If we were still in the middle of corn harvest, I would be very upset that they were only open till 4 and not open at all this weekend if we didn't have grain bins. But we do, so we don't have to rely on the local elevators to get our harvest in the books, in the bins. So yeah, that's a little bit about grain bins and why we use them. We've had great luck with our GSI bins. Our oldest one out here is a 1996 that we moved in 2016 to this location. And then the 2 other bins beside it are both from 2016. The bigger bin is from 2019. And like I say, I would like to put up another bin the size of our big bin, or maybe a little bit taller at some point. We're just not there yet. So we better go back outside and start dumping trucks again, but just wanted to give you a little bit of breakdown. I know in the last video there was a lot of questions about grain bins and how we justify them and how they make us money. So there's a little bit about that.